that there's any powers of observation at all. I mean, as you go through life, you have to revise, you have to rethink. And blind patriotism is idiotic. They have to earn our patriotism. We don't just hand it to them.
Well, as Rob Wanek was saying, our re-educational facilities that's teaching our youth to not think critically, not think for themselves, but just regurgitate what is being assembled in front of them. That is the problem. We've got to get our youth motivated to think for themselves and think logically and clearly.
Well, one of the most patriotic societies in the history of the world was that of Nazi Germany in the 1930s. I mean, the people there were extraordinarily patriotic. All hail Hitler.
Exactly. Sure.
Is there anything else you'd like to add today, sir?
No. You guys are, as the English say, spot on.
No, well, thank you, sir. We certainly consider that a compliment.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Well, Brian, we've already had one quote from Rob Wanek. You got a quote or two for us?
Yes, I have two quotes here. Actually, I got a whole book of them, as you can see, but I'm just going to read two of them. The drive of the Rockefellers and their allies is to create a one-world government combining supercapitalism and communism under the same tent, all under their control. Do I mean conspiracy? Yes, I do. I'm convinced there is such a plot, international in scope, generations old in planning, and incredibly evil in intent. Congressman Larry P. McDonald, 1976, killed in the Korean Airlines 747 that was shot down by the Soviets. Unbelievable. We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity during those years. But the work is now much more sophisticated and prepared to march towards a world government. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national auto-determination practiced in past centuries. David Rockefeller, founder of the Trilateral Commission, in an address to the meeting of the Trilateral Commission in June 1991.
I urge everyone to look into that for themselves. It's very interesting. This was published in the Statesville Record and Landmark, North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. People who believe they or a member of their family may have been sterilized through the North Carolina eugenics program between 1929 and 1974 are urged to call the North Carolina Caroline at 1-800-662-7030. More than 7,600 North Carolinians were sterilized, many of them involuntarily, during the 45 years the program was active. The program ended in 1974, and the law that allowed the involuntary sterilization was repealed by the General Assembly in 2003. North Carolina had a eugenics program, so did the whole country. I urge everyone to look into that. Each week we have a Hypocrite of the Week, and this week on our poll was Bobby Rush for his new gun control legislation, Obama's entire picks for the new administration, the U.S. government for being the problem and never the solution, Bush for pushing to release the $350 billion gift to the banksters once again, and Tim Geithner, tax evader and criminal. And the winner is, and this week we had a tie, so they'll go back up on the Hypocrite of the Week poll, Bobby Rush for his new gun control legislation and the U.S. government for being the problem and never the solution. You can go to that at therealnewsradio.com. Again, on air at therealnewsradio.com. You can email us if you send us information. We will put it on the website. Next week we're not planning on having a guest because we've got a lot of information that we want to cover for the sake of time. Sometimes we're pushed. We've got a lot of information we want to cover. We've got some clips that we wanted to play. We wasn't able to today, so we will do that next week. We'll have more time for phone calls. I know there were phone calls coming in the last 5 or 6 minutes we wasn't able to go to, but next week we'll have an extended phone time so everyone can comment. And on behalf of Ty and Farron and Jim and Brian, we enjoy doing the broadcast. Anything else you'd like to add today? We've got a few seconds left, Brian.
Go to your computer, bring up Google, and look up some of this stuff. Never before in the history of mankind has people on Earth had the ability to seek out and look up information as they do now. So there's absolutely no excuse whatsoever for people to be apathetic any longer.
Something I didn't get to cover, just as Pepsi Company contributing to the homosexual agenda, Campbell Soup is doing that also. Hopefully next week I'll have time to cover that. Again, our website, therealnewsradio.com. I urge everyone to go there, look at video 2, what's happened to Great Britain with their gun control. That's coming to us. I guarantee you we're going to see giant steps toward removing our Second Amendment rights, limiting our ability to buy guns and ammunition. And until next week, on behalf of Farron, Ty, Brian, and Jim, and in memory of David Moose Jr., I say, God help us all.